Hello students, welcome to nextias YouTube channel. I am Anil Tiwari. I am here with another session of daily news analysis. Today in the newspapers, these 5 important articles appeared and they are as follows. In the prelims section, we have the Houthis Rebels, their locations important for your prelims because they have already been asked by UPSC. The second is Mudumal, Megalithic Menhirs. These are old temples, religious sites from the ancient past. We will cover them for prelims perspective. The third topic, we have Ramadevarabetta Vulture Sanctuary from Karnataka. This is the only vulture sanctuary, so we will cover it because it might appear in your prelims paper. The fourth and the last in the prelim section, we have Linguistic Secularism. Because this idea of 3 language formula and imposition of Hindi has been in news, and we would want to cover it for prelims perspective because there are a lot of articles involved, and last year there has been a question from this area. In the main section of today's discussion, we will have 4 articles from the health sector that appeared in the Hindu, and we have titled as Health and Governance. We will give you all the value addition content provided in these 4 articles within short span of 10 to 12 minutes. So stay tuned and watch this video till the end. Let's start with today's discussion. Alright, so the first article relates to the Houthis Rebel in Yemen. UPSC has asked a question and it has asked other questions also relating certain people, and these people are usually involved in some rebellion or some civil conflict, and it is a favorite area for UPSC. So we will cover certain other rebels at the end of this slide. And as of now, who are Houthis? First and foremost, United States has hurt them. Recent strikes by United States killed a lot of rebels because these rebels attacked some ships that were bound to Israel, and in retaliation to that action, US has hit them, and this will come under your issue of international importance area of syllabus. Let's go ahead. So this is about the news that this back and forth attack has been happening between USA and allies and the Houthis. These rebels are backed by Iran, so it is a larger game that is going on. In that, this recent strike is important. If you can see this map of Yemen, it is very important because not the whole Yemen as per se is under control of Houthis. Some parts of Yemen is under control of Houthis. Some part is under control of US-backed militias, or let's say US-backed forces. So there is a lot going on in that small area. The basic underlying story is this, that there are religious interests, tribal interests, and there are interests related to, let's say, oil and gas, and all that combined together comes out as a conflict in which US is backing certain militias because Saudi Arabia is a great ally to US, and then Iran is trying to play out local regional geopolitics by which backing certain Shiites groups in these countries. So Iran is trying to build Yemen as a satellite state for Iran to counter Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia with United States is trying to prevent that. So this is all a basic story about Houthis, and the official name of this group is Ansar Allah, or let's say Partisan of God, and this movement is it is trying to first and foremost reflect back, or let's say move back this Western influence over Middle East, and then overall tribal autonomy in the northern Yemen they are trying to influence, and they are basically Iranian backed Shiite Muslim military and political movement. This I have already shared with you, and they are supporting a minority Zaidi sect of Shiite Islam. So remember these two important terms, that is Zaidi, Shia. Shias are influential in Yemen. Let's say Houthi rebels belong to them, and then they basically advocate regional autonomy for Zaidis in northern Yemen. This is more about these Houthi rebels. This group emerged in 1990s, not so important, but they emerged in 1990s. The founder was Hussein al-Houthi. On his name, this group is getting its name, Houthi, and they are basically alignment of axis of resistance. So remember this term, axis of resistance against Israel, US, and the west alongside Hamas and Hezbollah. Now you tell me in the comment section, where is this group active? That is Hamas. And you tell where is this group? Hezbollah is active, because they have been in news recently, very much in news. So you should know where these groups are active. Neighboring Saudi Arabia feared the Houthis would take over Yemen and make it a satellite state, which I have already discussed. What is the present status of these rebels? Are they successful against USA and backing away? Let's say how much backing they are getting from Iran, and largely this area is very sensitive. And what is the present status? So presently, these Houthis people, they captured Sana'a. Sana'a is the capital of Yemen. So they captured Sana'a in September 2014 and seized control over much of North Yemen by 2016. So past 10 years, past decade has been very successful for them, and this organization presently controls approximately 1/3 of Yemen's territory and more than 2/3 of Yemen population. So majority इनके पास है, special majority इनके पास है, और 1/3 से ज़्यादा इनके पास टेरिटरी है, 2/3 से ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन इनके पास है कंट्रोल में. और जनवरी 2025 तक, टिल जनवरी 2025, आफ्टर द इजराइल हमास सीज फायर, they basically halted a direct attack on Israel, but started attacking the maritime ships. Those are bound to Israel. So remember, all these groups are supporting the groups fighting in Israel, the recent conflict in Israel. So they were directly attacking Israel, but now that ceasefire has been signed, both Iran and Houthis and other groups have stopped attacking directly Israel, but they are attacking the ships in the Red Sea. There are many other rebel groups around the globe that are famous. Some of them I have mentioned here. You should look for more. Whenever you see a rebel group's name in the newspaper, note down the country, note down the cause for which they are fighting, and then remember it, because UPSC may ask question. So they are M23 rebels, which we have covered in January. They belong to DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Where is Democratic Republic of Congo situated? You tell in the comment section. Okay, then Kurds are there. They are spread around many countries. For example, Iran, Iraq, Syria and Turkey, they do not have their own country. So they are fighting for their autonomous country. Then recent attack by BLA, the Balochistan Liberation Army, it belongs to Balochistan, Pakistan. And then we have Hamas. This was in news. Hamas is active in Gaza Strip. We have Boko Haram, active in Nigeria. Then we have Mai Mai. They are also active in Democratic Republic of Congo. There are so many rebel groups. You try and find in newspapers as many as you can. Alright, so now attempt this question, submit your answer in the comment section below. We will jump to next topic. Alright, the second article relates to Mudumal Megalithic Menhirs. So first thing first, what are these interesting pictures that are coming out in the newspaper regarding Menhirs? And what is this UNESCO's tentative list of heritage sites, a list in which certain sites are added and then they can be moved to the actual UNESCO World Heritage Site. So what are these menhirs? A very important question. So in the ancient time, there were a time when people used to put a large stone vertically, and not just at random places. They used to put them in a certain manner that they will align with stars and sun's movement and solstice and everything. So they will act not just as a sacred site, but they will act as a astronomical basically observatory also. So a lot of mathematics, lot of astronomy went into placing these large stone in a specific way in order to observe certain celestial events, maybe certain festivals. If nowadays we look at moon, whether moon is there or not for, let's say, different festivals. Similarly, these people might have looked at these stones and relative motion of the stars and moons and sun in order to determine whether a festival is arrived or not. So that was the importance of these megalithics. We will go a little deep into what megalithics are, Indian sites and everything. So let's go through quickly into this topic. The backdrop is very simple, that recently Telangana's Narayanpet Mudumal megalithic menhirs have been added to tentative list. These are important because these are found in India, in Telangana, and these kind of stones, or let's say menhirs, are usual for Western Uttar Pradesh, Western Europe and Americas and other parts of the world. In India, they are found in different cultures, but at such complexity, it is very rare. So we will see how complex these structures are. So a menhir is a standing stone, upright stone, usually tapered at the top. So it is tapered at the top. Then it is a man-made, sculpted, placed by humans, and usually quite large stone uh, 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 at a particular place. The largest, here in the picture you can see, the largest surviving menhir is Grand Menhir Brice, or the Great Broken Menhir in Brittany, France, that stood around 20-meter tall. So you can imagine the size. Then menhirs are widespread in Europe, Africa and Asia, but they are most frequently found in the Western Europe, particularly in the Ireland and Great Britain. Then we have menhirs, are type of monolithic megaliths. So one stone but बहुत बड़ा stone, so monolith megaliths. Further, the megalith stone is larger in size, has been used to construct monument or a structure, that is menhir, megalith, that is megalith, and megaliths were predominantly constructed during the Neolithic period and persisted through the Chalcolithic age, Bronze age and Iron age. But largely they are found in Iron age, that is around 1500 BC to 500 BC, but there are some exception of Chalcolithic. So you understand, there was Iron age and then there was Chalcolithic. So Chalcolithic basically meaning Chalco and lithic. Okay, so तांबा, ताम्र पाषाण हिंदी में बोलते हैं. So this is तांबा and this is stone. So this is a age where iron was not discovered, then iron was discovered. So in India, majority of these megalith structures are found in Iron Age after IVC, Indus Valley Civilization के बाद मिलते हैं. Now megaliths are spread across the Indian subcontinent. Through the bulk of them are found in peninsular India. Bulk of them are found in peninsular India, concentrated in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra and Telangana. So remember these sites, and even today there are certain living megalithic cultures like Gonds and Khasis that are living still using the megaliths as their rituals. There are certain sites which you should remember and note down the states of these sites. I'll tell you some important like Maski, Gurjahom, then we have Adani Challur, then we have let's say Koldiva, this is important, Nagarjun Konda is important. So remember these certain sites of megalithic period because they might be asked in your UPSC prelims exam. So certain sites are very important and the states are very important regarding those sites. Then now let us look at what are the different types of megaliths. So in megaliths, this is not type of menhir, but menhir is a type of megalith. So we can see here capstone is there. Capstone is a mushroom shaped 3 stone, 2 stones, and on top of it there is larger stone. This is majorly found in Kerala. Then we have dolmen. Dolmen is a chamber created by putting stones and then putting a flat stone over it. So this chamber is called dolmen. Then we have cairns. These are cone shaped megaliths. And then we have cyst. This is pit burial. Basically there is a hole and then this hole is completely underground and people used to bury. Then we have menhirs, that is single stone standing, large stone standing on its own. Now Mudumal menhir, it is very complex menhir. It is basically astronomical observatory site from the ancient time, and right now menhirs basically they are also known locally as Neluralla Thimmappa, basically Thimmappa of the standing stone, and some of them are worshipped as a goddess also, Yelamma. Then we will look at what are menhirs specifically. So this Mudumal menhir is among 6 properties added to India's tentative list by UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Basically, this should be read as what are the sites that are added to tentative list of UNESCO. So these sites involve Kangar Valley National Park in Chhattisgarh. We have Ashokan edicts in various states. Then we have Chausa Yogini Temple in MP and Odisha. Then we have Gupta temples in different states. Then we have Palace Fortress in the Bundelas in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. So this is this tentative list. What is the significance? Significance is basically this menhir represents a complex knowledge of astronomy and other things. So it is very preserved also. That's why it is very important that we save it, and that's the whole idea. And there is a practice question for you. Try to solve this question. We will jump to the next topic. This next topic is basically Ramadevarabetta Vulture Sanctuary. This is a small topic. Why? Because there was only a picture of this vulture and there was written this sanctuary's name. But it is very interesting because it is the only sanctuary saving the vultures. So it is important that you understand why vultures died or dying. They have died, almost all of them had died, and how we are preserving them now. So very quickly we will finish this topic. This comes in your environment and ecology, and the backdrop is that fourth successful breeding season of India's long-billed vulture at Karnataka's Ramadevarabetta Vulture Sanctuary is taken place. So you can see here their photo. These are vultures, and vultures के बारे में थोड़ा जानेंगे. A little bit about vultures. So these are scavenging birds. Basically मरे हुए जानवर को खाते हैं, scavenge करते हैं, and they are divided into न्यू वर्ल्ड वल्चर्स एंड जैसे कि कैलिफोर्नियन एंड इंडियन वल्चर्स, एंड देन वी हैव ओल्ड वर्ल्ड वल्चर्स विच इंक्लूड लाइक वाइट रम्प्ड एंड रेड headed vultures. So there are two world vultures, new world and old world. There are examples also, please note it down. In new world vultures, they are found in North and South America. Old world vultures, they are found in Europe, Africa and Asia. Then there are no vultures in Australia and Antarctica. Very important fact. No vultures in Australia and Antarctica. Then we have distinctive characteristics of most vultures. They are bald headed. Why they are bald headed? Because they basically they have to maintain hygiene while feeding on the carcasses, and also they have to maintain the thermoregulation. So this is the reason why they are bald at the head, and they do not have normal feathers or feathery neck. They are devoid of this normal feathers and feathery necks because of this hygiene nature only. Alright, then we have 9 species of vultures that exist in India. You don't need to remember all these 9 species of vultures. We will go through them one by one, and we will see their status also. What is the habitat? They prefer habitat in the desert, savanna, grassland near a water source, and they can basically exist around 3000 meters above the sea level in the mountain ranges. Then if we see the population basically decline, you can see, we will discuss the diclofenac issue in a while. Let me discuss all these 9 species of vultures found in India. So depending on their look, they are called very differently, but remember there are 4 vulture species that are critically endangered. These are white rumped vulture, red-headed, slender and Indian vulture. Remember these 4 species, they may be asked in the exam because they are critically endangered. And remember the other species, because they will mention their name and say they are critically endangered, but they are not. For example, endangered is Egyptian vulture, near threatened in cinereous vulture, lemon grey or bearded vulture, then Himalayan griffon, this is near threatened, and least concerned in Eurasian griffon. So they comes under Appendix 2 of CITES and Wildlife Protection Act, they come under Schedule 1. And vultures are part of species recovery program under the integrated development of wildlife habitats by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So remember this program, they are part of it. Then remember all the critically endangered vultures, then remember the other vultures. Now let's see what is the status of conservation. So the population of white rumped vulture, long-billed vulture and slender billed vulture has declined by around 97%. Why this has happened? Because of one drug that is called diclofenac. Why? Because this drug is used as a pain killer to the animals that are dying. So what farmers do, they inject this painkiller into those animals so that they are relieved from this pain. But when the vulture eats that animal, that painkiller is literally poisonous to vultures. So their kidney fails. While they are eating this animal, they die. Basically, they are standing, they are eating this carcass and then they die. So this is very harmful for these vultures. So diclofenac led to basically this death, and Government of India has banned use of diclofenac in veterinary medicine and initiated vulture breeding program for ex situ conservation and enhanced in situ protection of the remaining population. So Government of India, taking cognizance of this matter, banned diclofenac in the veterinary science, and then they have initiated a program for both in situ and ex situ preservation of vulture population. So India National Vulture Action Plan 2020-2025. We are setting up some conservation breeding centers, vulture rescue centers and vulture reintroduction program for captive bred vultures, regular monitoring of population, establishing vulture safe zones. So we are doing all of these important things in the India National Vulture Action Plan. Then we have protected areas, only one we have protected area, that is Ramadevarabetta Wildlife Sanctuary, that is vulture sanctuary, only vulture sanctuary in India. It is Ramnagar district, Karnataka. It housed long-billed vulture, Indian vulture, Egyptian vulture, and white-rumped vulture. So now solve this question and submit your answers in the comment section. We will jump into the next article. So the next and the last article in prelims section, we have linguistic secularism as a topic. Very interesting, very topical, and a lot of issues that are going on right now in the country. For example, the Tamil government, the Tamil Nadu government, the state government dropping the sign rupees because it is written in Devanagari, or let's say originating from Devanagari, and issuing a Tamil basically sign for rupee. And there are many other issues. Different languages in India, they are facing different challenges. So it is very important that for prelims, specifically for prelims, that you are aware about all the constitutional provisions related to the languages, because last year only UPSC has asked a question from the 8th schedule. So we will majorly focus on the Supreme Court's judgment. The article mentions that judgment. It gives the idea of linguistic secularism. We will go through this topic of linguistic secularism. We will define it so that if it appears in the exam, then you are able to answer. Then we will see certain amendments. We will see certain Supreme Court judgments. This will be enough for your prelims preparation regarding this area. So the backdrop is, I have explained that the Supreme Court's 2014 judgment came into light. Why? Because the new education policy is basically coming up with 3 language formula, against which many states, including Tamil Nadu government, has been protesting and trying to ensure that linguistic diversity is remained, and the plurality when it comes to languages in India is very important, and it should be preserved as such. So it will come under Indian society, Indian polity section of your syllabus, GS2. GS1 it can also come, it can come in all parts of the main syllabus, and it is very important for your prelims. Now this is about the news which I have already discussed. And what is this linguistic secularism? So as you know, secularism is basically in India, secularism means that yes, the state will not have any official religion. That's the basic definition of secularism. Extended on India is that Indian secularism tries to accommodate all religions equally, try to remain equidistant from all religion, principal distance as we say it, and that defines Indian secularism. It is important because if meddling of religion and state takes place, then there is no space for different diversity, there is no space for people to explore and develop their full potential. So linguistic secularism extends from, or let's say takes up this idea and then goes further, and this term was used by Supreme Court saying that the principle of accommodating and respecting all languages without imposing one over the other, that is linguistic secularism. Further, the Supreme Court in this case, that is UP Hindi Sahit Sammelan versus State of UP case, Supreme Court said that linguistic secularism is important to ensure linguistic diversity and federal pluralism in India. What were the other observation of Supreme Court in this case? Supreme Court observed that the evolution of the linguistic laws and the law in general in India has been organic and has been accommodative, meaning that as and when we find certain issues, we have been accommodating. For example, we have made a lot of amendments to make sure that fears of the linguistic minorities are taken into consideration. And also remember that we had a very peculiar experiment that ran just after the independence of India. That experiment was the state of Pakistan, the state which constituted an area where Urdu was not the official language. Urdu is a language of India. It comes from Lucknow, developed in Meerut area, or let's say in this part of the world. But the Pakistan government, as soon as they got independence, imposed Urdu over Punjabi, Sindhi, Bengali and other speaking people, and then the result came out in terms of creation of Bangladesh in 1971. So in this area, there is an experiment and case study already present. Keeping that in mind, India has rightly so made this clear-cut policy of accommodation and respecting all religions and did not declare one national language. So this case is very important in that regard. That in this case, the Supreme Court basically took reference from the Constituent Assembly debates, where one of the basically intellectual basically pointed out in India that Hindi language as per data is although spoken by largest population, by the largest section of the population, but they are not in majority. And also Hindi is not a fully developed language. It does not have great history. It is 100 or 150-year old. But the regional languages, say Bengali, Odia, Tamil, Kannada and Malayalam and all other regional languages, they are very old, very rich in diversity, very rich in history and literature and everything. So they decided to make Hindi as an official language according to the Constituent Assembly debates. This is not me speaking, this is the Constituent Assembly debates speaking. They say that okay, we can accept Hindi as in Devanagari script as a official language, and they put basically a responsibility and a duty on the central government to propagate and to promote Hindi in Devanagari script as a common language among people, but meanwhile respecting other languages also. So in that line there have been a lot of issues, but our focus is not all those political issues. Our focus should be on what is the particular article in the constitution that says something regarding languages. So article 343 for example says the official language of the union shall be Hindi in Devanagari script, but the official language still English is also official language because it is frozen in 1965, or let's say in 1950s 60s there have been a movement in the language politics, and it did not come out. The English did not go. Hindi remained the official language and English also remained the official language. There is no, please remember, there is no national language of India, only official language in India. Article 351, the another article, it says that there shall be a duty of the union to promote the spread of Hindi language. The goal is to make Hindi a medium of expression for India's diverse culture. So Hindi's role should be to promote the diverse culture. Then Article 29(1) gives a fundamental right to the linguistic minorities to protect their languages, and Article 19 basically gives the right for the child to choose their language to be studied in. So teaching in a particular language is a fundamental right. What about the 8th schedule that we hear of, that there are 22 languages that are recognized? So these 22 languages in the 8th schedule are recognized as a constitutional mandate that okay, these languages are can be on request, or let's say can be given a higher status. So this list is the official languages of Republic of India. Part 17 is of interest because part 17 of the Indian Constitution deals with the official languages, because last year UPSC has asked question on parts also, so we have mentioned the part and then we have mentioned the articles 343 to 351. So this 8th schedule has 22 languages. Read through these 22 languages. We will see how these languages came up and which amendment incorporated which language. There are classical languages also. This is different from these official 8th schedule languages, but all the classical languages come under 8th schedule, and there are 6 languages that enjoy the classical language status. You can read these 6 languages and their dates accordingly. Further, we have 3 amendments regarding this. The 21st Amendment of 1967 basically extended the use of English for official purposes indefinitely. Earlier Hindi was reduced. Hindi was supposed to replace English after 15 years. This has happened because there have been fears in India, and in 1967-68 only the issue of Bangla and Urdu in Bangladesh happened. So it was a very pragmatic decision by the Indian government at that time that we should not go the path of Pakistan, because Pakistan tried to impose Urdu over other people who were speaking Bangla or let's say Punjabi or other languages. Then 71st Amendment Act of 1992, it added Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali languages to the 8th schedule, and then in 92nd Amendment, Bodo, Dogri, Maithili and Santhali were added to the 8th schedule, raising the count to 22 languages. Here, if you remember, there is Bodo language. So recently you have seen there have been an accord related to this name, that is Bodo. This accord, you comment in the comment section what is this accord and how it is coming about. Today there were articles, Amit Shah went there in Assam, and you write about Bodo accord in the comment section. Now there is one more judgment mentioned in the article. This judgment is Karnataka versus State of Karnataka versus Associated Management of Primary and Secondary School. In this basically judgment, Supreme Court declared that under Article 19 basically gives a right for a primary class student to choose the language of instruction. So this is this is amendment, this is constitutional provisions, 8th schedule, articles regarding all this ongoing issue of language. Now try and attempt this question and comment your answers in the comment section below. We will jump into the discussion for mains article. So in the mains section, we have picked up various articles appearing in the Hindu. There were 4 articles titled as health and governance, and these 4 articles have a lot of insight into them, and it is important that we take the value added material that is appearing in these articles. The health sector per se is a very vast area of study. You have different levels of health sector: primary, secondary, and then tertiary. Then you have insurance issue, then you have out of pocket expenditure, then the whole role of the state in the public healthcare system, then the role of private sector in the private healthcare system, and then we have nutritional health for all, the international agreements, so many things. They have communicable disease, non-communicable disease, so many things to discuss in the healthcare sector. But today we will focus on these 4 articles. Why? Because there are 4 articles first of all, and then we have a limited amount of time, and then we have a lot to unpack from these 4 articles. So we will go one by one. The very first article that we will discuss is relating to nutrition, because that's where health care starts. Then we will go into our primary healthcare sector, that's the second article. Then we will go into the education sector, the employment in the healthcare sector, and then we will go for the cancer, that whether cancer should be a notified disease or not. So that's how we will go. The context is very simple, that by 2047 we are ensuring the India will become a developed country. By that logic, we will healthcare for all, free healthcare for all. Everybody can access to healthcare. For that, we need to make sure that we are solving all the structural issues. This is the backdrop of this article. We have GS2, paper GS2, in which we have healthcare sector as a topic, and the policies, the government policies that are relating to that particular area are important. There are many mains questions from the healthcare sector. Some of them I have picked up. These 3 questions, they came on healthcare sector. I'll read one by one. First one is, besides being a moral imperative of welfare state, primary health structure is a necessary precondition for sustainable development. Analyze 2021. We have appropriate local community level healthcare intervention is a prerequisite to achieve health for all in India. Explain. One of the article, the second article that we will discuss today, is directly related to this question, that has appeared in main 2018. Then we have public health system as limitation in providing universal healthcare coverage. Do you think that private sector could help in bridging the gap? What other viable alternative would you suggest? So we will see how public healthcare policy, or let's say the government policy, is leading more towards privatization of the healthcare rather than being free for all, and we will see this question appearing in one of the articles. So it is very important that you look through these articles. So we will start with nutrition. You all know that good nutrition will ensure that you are not falling sick more often. So we all know that immunity is strong, then we will not fall sick. What this article is mentioning, a certain data. If you are talking about nutrition with anybody, you should have some data. So this data, you try to listen to this data very carefully. So India faces severe malnutrition issues with high rates of malnourished children and anemic women. So this is very alarming situation in India, that children and women are anemic. How much? 36% of children under 5 are stunted. Do you know what is stunting? If you know, please write in the comment section. What is stunting? What is wasting? All these 2 things. What is anemia? All these terms that we see in the newspaper, you should knowing the basic definition of them. So 36% of children are stunted. 57% of women aged 15 to 49 are anemic. Then 24% of women and 23% of men are overweight and obese. So we have obesity as a problem, we have stunting as a problem, wasting as a problem, anemia as a problem. All kinds of problems are existing in India. Then we have rise in lifestyle induced non-communicable disease like diabetes and hypertension. So because of change in lifestyle, we are seeing the non-communicable diseases also. We have communicable diseases also. So the problem is very dire. So what is the issues that we are deploying to resolve all these problems? What are the issues with those approaches? So what we are doing? We are doing that we are targeting women and children to resolve the nutritional problem. But we are ignoring men, seniors, and people with non-communicable diseases. So we are ignoring a large chunk of population and focusing on only two set groups, that is women and children. Poshan 2.0 in Saksham Anganwadi scheme focus on the same approach like take-home rations, iron supplements, and supplementary foods. But they might only mainly target women, children, and certain regions like aspirational districts in Northeast. So there is a limitation to these programs. These schemes reinforce the idea that malnutrition is very sectoral and specific. It is not, it is widespread. Protein deficiency is there in men also. In women also it is there. In children it is there. In seniors it is there. So we should target the whole population. That's the one issue with the approach, current approach. Then what do we need? We need a comprehensive plan that includes this diversity of nutritional needs in the country. Depending on social strata, it should focus and beyond just reproductive and child health. It should go beyond reproductive health and child growth. Key elements. What will be the key elements of this comprehensive agenda? The key elements will be that you go beyond women and children. You have broad and locally based solutions. For example, let's say in some areas there is a lot of soya bean production. So you focus on soya bean to ensure protein deficiency. Then if certain areas are okay with non-vegetarian food, let's say, so what they can do, if the local population is accepting, then the government should promote that. So in the India is very diverse. India is very diverse. Depending on local produce, certain areas prefer rice, certain areas prefer dal, certain areas prefer other things. So you promote different things for different reasons. So that way locally based solution can be ensured. Link nutritional services with local food systems and ensure delivery via health and wellness centers. So we have health and wellness centers in India. Through these centers you ensure that we have the delivery of these local produce, local services, local food productions. If you look at the system in India, Indian public healthcare system, there are certain issues. This is our second article, by the way. This is our second article. So this is the first article which tries to point out that there is a challenge with the nutrition approach in India. There is a challenge with the nutritional condition of India, and it tries to give a suggestion in the form of comprehensive plan for the nutrition. That's a good learning. Now, second article is focusing on universal healthcare, and it says that the World Health Organization's UHC, Universal Healthcare Framework, which advocates for healthcare for all, is not being implemented in the right manner in India. It says that we are focusing on out-of-pocket expenditure, but we are not focusing on primary healthcare. So the United Nations UHC, Universal Healthcare, says that you ensure that there is a less out-of-pocket expenditure. What is out-of-pocket expenditure? So when you go to hospital, let's say in government hospital, you are given a bed, you are given, let's say, certain tests and something, but the whole treatment is not free. So you go out, you buy syringes, you buy medicine, you buy fruits, you buy many other things. So there is a large share of your expending goes into that. That is called out-of-pocket expenditure during healthcare. So UHC says to reduce two things. It's out-of-pocket expenditure and ensure universal healthcare. In this primary healthcare, you ensure primary healthcare. Primary healthcare is preventive healthcare basically. But what we are doing, we are focusing through Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Yojana. What we are doing, we are ensuring that reducing the OOPE, that is out-of-pocket expenditure, by covering the hospitalization and tertiary care. But we are not focusing on primary health care. How this will be a problem? Imagine you do not have preventive health care. Then if preventive health care is not there, then the burden will shift on the tertiary health care. So more people will fall sick. They are not preventing diseases. They are not choosing a good lifestyle. They are not eating healthy. So they will fall more sick. Then more people will go into this Ayushman Bharat scheme in the tertiary care, and the burden will increase. So we should target the primary healthcare sector. This is what this article is all about. So, but this article is also saying that insurance-based model, the way we are approaching in the Ayushman Bharat, is not basically the best model, because we have seen in the let's say we have seen in the USA, we have seen in the United States that this led to a lot of privatization, a lot of issues, cost rose up, and many other issues basically happen. Private hospitals will increase and other things will happen. So the next thing is this neglect of primary healthcare sector leads to basically if you develop a strong primary healthcare system, then it will reduce the burden on secondary and tertiary care. It will ensure cost effective and accessible healthcare services. Also, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana hospitalization based model basically shift resources away from preventive healthcare, contradicting the Vulture committee's vision of pyramid shaped health system with PSC as the foundation. So, the article is saying that if you focus largely on the insurance business and insurance based tertiary care, then what will happen? The primary healthcare sector will be weakened, and this will lead to basically more burden on, as I have discussed, and this goes against the Vulture committee's vision of a pyramid shaped health system with PHC at the bottom. And we have already seen that 36 crore Ayushman cards have been issued, 31,000 hospitals have been empaneled. What will happen? This will lead to budget allocation, increased budget allocation, but this will not be of very productive use because we are focusing on tertiary care, not the primary care. Now, if you look at budget prioritization and growing privatization, you will see certain trends. Let us observe. So, 95,000 crore is allocated to the Department of Health and Family Welfare, but out of the 95,000 crore, only 4,000 crore goes to the Department of Health Research. So, research is weakened. What will happen with if research is weakened? Then you will rely on foreign grants. You will not develop them quickly, effectively. There will be not many, let's say, human resource available there because it is not very lucrative. So, all these issues will turn up. The budget focuses on medical digital infrastructure and medical education expansion rather than PHC development. Budget is also exposing this lack of lack of vision towards primary healthcare. The budget is saying that we will establish aims, we will establish big institutions, but what about the primary healthcare? So then we see National Health Mission. This is reducing declining share of the budget allocation. That will basically reduce the role of the government. Then we are seeing that the FDI has been allowed. 100% FDI in the insurance sector has been allowed. This will lead to insurance penetration and privatization of the healthcare, and also it will lead to the marginalization of people because marginal people will not have, let's say poor people will not have access to the insurance schemes, and the government goes out of the public healthcare system because privatization is increasing. What will happen with these marginalized sector? They will not be participating in this insurance-led healthcare system. Then lack of insurance literacy and weak private sector regulation may increase out-of-pocket expenditure and inflate medical costs. This has happened in the USA. Alright. Lessons, we have to learn lessons. So, USA is an example where over-reliance on private insurance led to skyrocketing costs and inequalities. Further, we see countries like Thailand and Costa Rica, they have tax-based, basically free public healthcare system. They provide free healthcare and they are also regulating the private insurance and also ensuring that there is a strong public investment in the public healthcare. What India should do? India should shift from tertiary private healthcare financing to preventive community-based care, especially for the informal workers, migrants and vulnerable groups. This is what India can do. So, there are certain policy recommendations that government should do is that government should invest in the preventive community-based healthcare to make accessible to all. Then we should develop comprehensive public health benefit packages to reduce out-of-pocket expenditure and ensure equitable access. We should regulate private insurance to prevent rising healthcare costs and safeguard vulnerable population. We should also enhance cost control mechanism and expand public sector health funding to achieve true health for all. All in all, the policy recommendations are that, okay, regulate private sector, regulate private hospitals, regulate private insurance, ensure that marginal people, vulnerable people, women, children, they get good things, good deal out of this healthcare system. That's what this article is saying. The next article is regarding public health education in India. We will go through this very fast. Basically, this article is saying that there has been a history of public education, or let's say education in healthcare, starting from colonial era. Then we have expanded these medical training facilities. Largely earlier people used to go out, now they are not going, they are studying in India. but there have been an issue that supply and demand issue has been there, that quality has been reduced. For example, the private sector, involvement of private sector in the healthcare education has led to mushrooming of all these medical institutions where the admission standards are very low and people get entry into it, and then they get trained, but they are not employable. So there is a lack of employability of these trained people. Also, as we have discussed, that government is going out of this public healthcare system, and then need of basically public services in the medical field is reducing. That is also creating a lot of problem with these employment. And then also we have a lot of reliance over foreign grants. So we have a lot of reliance over foreign grants. So the research in the medical field is very much curtailed because of lack of funding. This article is basically mentioning that, and it is as I have discussed, it is mentioning that quality issue is there. Quality vis-a-vis regulation of these institutions, curriculum setting up, standards of education, let's say availability of labs, availability of training, outside training. Let's say if you finish your MBBS, then you have to go for training. So all these things are very much lacking in this area, and we need to basically ensure education and employment. We need to basically have public health job opportunities, expansion of public health. Let's say role of government should increase. Then we should have regulatory mechanisms that are strengthened, be it regulating the private health institutions or the colleges or the syllabus or the standards of the admission process. Everything should be regulated nicely, and UGC should take place. UGC should intervene into it, and we should also enhance the practical training. We should promote national action for sustainable development, as in that we should enhance healthcare sector in a way that sustainable development goals are ensured. Now the last article is regarding cancer. This is also a slight small article. This basically argues for and against making cancer as a notified disease. What will happen if some disease becomes notified disease? We will see that a notified disease will be any disease that require, as per the law, to be reported to the public health authorities. That is called notifiable disease. What is cancer? Cancer is in simple terms a growth of cells in an uncontrolled manner which leads to decay in the body, and then it dies basically. So it is a second leading cause for death around the world. So cancer is very bad, and the proposed notification basically it facilitates prompt investigation. If let's say a disease is a notified disease, then it will be notified to the healthcare authorities. The investigation will start, assessment will take place, and then response can be done accordingly. So should cancer be a notified disease? So it talks about that yes, it should be, because it will enhance the early detection and resource allocation. Then also it says that it will improve the surveillance of the cancer, and then it will identify areas where prevalent a certain type of cancer is prevalent. But it is not that easy. There are certain risks. For example, cancer's diversity. Cancer is of different type. What kind of cancer will be notified and what kind of not? It is an issue. Then we have privacy concerns, because cancer is a very damning disease. People will not want others people to know. Then it will become basically open that cancer is there. Then legal implications are there. Then we have stigma attached to cancers. So all these things are related to cancer. This was a very small article, but these two articles regarding primary healthcare sector and then education and then nutrition were very important, very insightful. So this has been a great discussion. Now attempt this question, try to write answer to this question, and good luck, and we will meet again. So thank you very much.